We're going to do an example here where we use our graphing calculator to find the zeros. Okay, so the first step, we want to find the zeros of 6x cubed minus 7x squared minus 20x. So the first thing we're going to do is put this function in our y1. So 6x cubed minus 7x squared minus 20x. Okay, next we're gonna, it says zoom 6, but that's just gonna graph it in the standard window. Okay, so there's our polynomial. To get a little bit better look, we're gonna change our window. So we can do that by going window, we're gonna change it to -5 to 5. We'll leave our x scale alone, and we'll leave that alone. So we can hit graph. Okay, now our minimum is kind of off the screen, but that's okay. Okay. Now, it looks like we have a 0 at 0, and we could look at our table. So remember, zeros are where it crosses the x-axis, and we do. Okay, so we have a 0 at 0. Now, if we look at our graph, we see there are two other places it crosses the x-axis, but they're not at integers. They're not at nice round numbers. So we've got two more to find. Now, to find our calculator, we're going to hit second and hit the calc button, the trace button, and we're going to go down to 0, number 2. Now, we need to pick, so let's say we're finding this 0. We need to pick two numbers, one that's to the left of it and one that's to the right. Now, -2 is to the left of that, so we can use -2, and we can use -1 as something that's to the right of it. So first it's asking for a left bound, so we're going to hit -2 and we're going to hit enter. Okay, so that's where we hit -2 and then enter. Now it's asking for a right bound, so we're going to hit -1 and we're going to hit enter. Okay, it asks for a guess, but we can just hit enter, and it will give us that this first 0 is at -1.33 if we round to 2 decimal places. Now, let's look at this one. This one, it looks like the left bound we could use 2, and the right bound, so this was 2. The right bound we could use 3. Okay, so we're going to hit second, and then the trace button, or second calc. And remember, we're looking for a 0. So we put in that left bound we talked about. We can put in 2. Okay, then we can put in the right bound of 3. Okay, hit enter for a guess. So these we're just putting in our bounds, and it gives us that x is 2.5. So that means all the zeros of our polynomial were 0, -1.33, and 2.5. Now, just a little bit of review, finding the minimum and the maximum. So here's our maximum. Let's go ahead and do that first. So we're going to do second calc, and we're going to choose maximum 4. And we want to move that little cursor, little spider. It's off our screen right now, but we're going to keep moving it so that it gets to the left of our mountain. Okay, so now it's to the left of it. We're going to hit, so here's the hill, top of the hill, and it's to the left of it. We're going to hit enter. We're now going to move so it's to the right of it and hit enter. It asks for a guess. Okay, and it found our max. So our max is the y value. So if we round to, let's round to 2 decimal places, we'd say 8.54 at x equals -0.73. Now, our minimum is off the screen here, so let's zoom out a little bit. Okay, so there's our minimum. So if we hit second calc, we choose minimum. First, we're going to want to make sure we're to the left of that. So here's our minimum. It's now to the left. We can hit enter. We'll now use the right arrow and go past it to the right. Hit enter. Hit enter for a guess. And it will tell us that our minimum is we want our y value, negative 25.50 at x equals 1.51. Okay, so that's how we can use our calculator to find zeros and minimums and maximums.